Welcome, one and all, to the 25th episode of the Heavy NFLD official podcast. And this is a very special episode because it is the year-end episode. That's right. What a coincidence that the 25th episode is going to be coming out on December the 25th, Christmas Day. I wish all of you a very happy holidays, and I hope that you enjoy the episode that we have in store for you on this installment of the podcast. We're going to be taking a look at some holiday-themed tracks that have been released in this month of 2020, as well as some previous holiday material that's come out from Newfoundland-based loud and heavy music artists. And we also have a very special segment, as we have done an interview. I did an interview with Tomas Hiscock from the band Everose, also from the band Pearl. You may know him from that group as well. We talked for about 20 minutes about the band's most recent single, and that'll be coming up later in the program. But starting out, we're going to play a track from everyone's favorite black metal duo from St. John's. That's right, the one and only Artach, with their most recent single, Dreaming of a Black Winter.
celebration of Christian folly. Vertically, I scream out these words, and displace what appears to be heard. I know these lights and hate your trees. I'll set fire to all your prison dreams. No matter the source shopping advertisers will give me the lie with this advertisement of the best of pestilence. From your holy edifice, I hate this dreadfulness. In the time of pestilence, stole this holiday from the pagans, while I claim it in the name of Satan. We celebrate every December 25th, the burning of church in black metal riffs. Blasphemy is the name of my game, and I am led on this holiday to sing into the heavens and death to grace. I'm good to be naughty and fuck me at night. Fuck your festive pestilence. Fuck your holy edifice. I hate this dreadfulness. In the time of massive pestilence.
Alright, what you just heard was Season's Bleedings followed by Festive Pestilence by Mistwalker, that's yours truly, from a Christmas EP I did 2 years ago, which was also entitled Season's Bleedings. You can find that on Bandcamp at mistwalker.bandcamp.com. Before that, we had Rick Massie with his cover, his reinterpretation, rather, of It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, a Christmas Carol classic, which featured his daughter Aila Massie on vocals there at the beginning. I thought it was an interesting interpretation, and that you can also find on Bandcamp at rickmassie.bandcamp.com. And once again, before that, we had Dreaming of a Black Winter by Artach. Up next, we have the interview that I mentioned in the beginning, the one that I did with Tomas Hiscock from the band Everose and also of the band Pearl. In this interview, we talked about the band's most recent single, their debut single entitled Falling, which you can find on YouTube and most streaming services as of right now. And we also talked about a bunch of other things like his influences, the band's influences overall, their opinions on the scene in Newfoundland, and what they want to get up to in the future once the pandemic is over. So, without further ado, please enjoy this interview with Tomas Hiscock of Everose. And we're good to go. So, I am here with Tomas Hiscock from the band Everose. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. I just, as you know, came back in from getting a coffee. It's freezing as a witch's tit up here. It's like minus 17 degrees in Montreal right now. I don't know what
Oh
it's
my
like in
God.
Newfoundland, but that's how I'm doing. What's the weather
Yeah.
like down there?
It's not bad actually. It's pretty warm for December month. We had a bit of snow last few days, and most of it's gone now because of crazy rain. But yeah, it's not bad.
Right on. Well, that's honestly making me miss being back there a little bit, as I'm sure you can imagine. Um,
Yeah, man. Like, oh man, Blah. Cold.
yeah, so you are part of a new band called Everose. You guys describe yourselves as alternative metal. You're from St. John's. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the band? Tell us the lineup, for example. Who else is in the band besides you, and who plays what instrument?
I play guitar and sing. Our bassist, me and him play in another band called Pearl, which is a thrash metal band that we've been playing around town for a few years now. I usually play drums and sing in that band, but we started Everose so that way we could do something a little more melodic, a little more different elements, and have me play guitar instead of drums, just to kind of switch it up a bit. We met our drummer through playing shows as well. He was playing for a long time with the band called Cast and Cult.
Uh,
He also has a few projects on the go called Insect and Sun Ray Architects, which is electronic and stuff. So when we met him, we figured it was time to actually make this come to fruition and start writing tunes and stuff.
nice.
Um,
Well,
yeah,
if you don't mind me saying, I mean, I'm a few years older than you, I'm pretty sure. I know you
yeah.
guys are definitely a bit on the younger side, at least when it comes to the other bands that are going around in the heavy music scene. I just wanted to say that it's really cool to see that there is like a new generation of heavy bands that are coming out of I guess the high schools and the colleges in St. John's, because there's you guys and like you mentioned Pearl and Caspem Cult. It's just really awesome to see that, because I feel like people think that the St. John scene, it's dying. Some people think that, but I definitely disagree. It's like the scene kind of comes and goes in terms of like valleys and troughs and peaks and stuff like that, and that's just kind of natural. So it's cool to see that there are younger bands coming up, and kind of taking over the mantle, I guess you could say. So I just wanted to say, thanks for doing that, honestly.
Um, yeah, it's thanks, man. It's great to be a part of the music scene. Sure, I've been going to shows since I've been small. Um, yeah, it's been. I'm grateful to be given this music scene to play and be a part of and support in every way I can. Um, that like that Newfoundland has. As you said, like some people do think it's dying, and
Well, I mean, when you have
to
stuff
say it's
like
dying, I don't really.
well,
Sorry.
when you have stuff like COVID going on, right? I can understand why people think
Yeah.
that, right? Because I mean, we've had several bars, several venues closed down in St. John's over the course of the last year. So, I mean,
Yes.
I get why people feel that way, but I just personally disagree because I've seen this happen elsewhere. I mean, it happens here in Montreal too, where there'll be a long stretch where it just seems like there's not really that much going on, and then all of a sudden you get a bunch of new bands that come out, and like all of a sudden the scene is back raring to go again, and then it just dies again a few years
Booming
later. It
and
rises and falls,
yeah.
right? But it is
Yeah.
really cool to see that
To
you
say
guys
it's
are.
dying.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Okay. To say like I hear a lot of people say that the scene is dying, and would I totally agree with that? No. Same as you. Like I agree that it goes through dips and it goes through peaks, and well, COVID is just adding to that right now. So there's nothing going on right now because of COVID, like
Exactly.
at all. So to say that the music scene in itself is dying because COVID's shutting everything down is kind of unfair because everything's shut down. So,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
exactly.
like, yeah. So it's it's nice to like. I feel like once COVID has finally dissipated, that a lot of people will actually have more motivation to go to shows and start playing again. And I think that like if you look at everything like if there's a positive, like there's gonna be positives out of this. Like I feel like there's gonna be a boom after COVID with the whole scene because people are just gonna be stuck in the house for so long. They just want to get out and do something,
Oh my God,
And
yeah.
if that's come to a show, like it's gonna be great.
Totally, I completely agree. I really think that once this whole thing has kind of ended, that we're going to see, like you said, a lot more people who just want to get out and play shows. I mean, we're already seeing it, right? There's been a few shows here and there over the course of the year as the amount of cases has fluctuated and gone up and down. But once this is over and bars open up
Yeah,
again, and hopefully someone does take over the space that Treble Lounge used to be at, then we're going to see just like a huge explosion of people who
yes,
just want to get out and, you know, do everything that they possibly can to continue playing music and keep the scene alive. So yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. Now, when it comes
100%,
to
man.
thanks, when it comes to the music that you guys play, you say that you started this project out of a want to play stuff that's more melodic than the harsher, more aggressive stuff that you do with Pearl. So why don't you talk a bit
Yes.
about your influences and what's kind of inspired you to go down this direction? Because I did listen to the new single that you have out called "Falling," and I definitely got some Queens of the Stone Age sort of vibes going on. Like I don't want to outright call it like stoner rock because I don't think that really fits, but I definitely feel like it fits into this category of really like driving like music that you would listen to while you're driving like really fast on a highway, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man. For like in terms of influence and stuff, we do take a lot of influence from Queens of Stone Age. Like our drummer, he's a huge Queens fan, and so am I, and so is our bass player. So like we're all very much into the stone rock kind of scene, kind of like a lot of our influences come from just dirty riff rock.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a lot of other influences Deftones, for example, is one
Ah,
of our favorite bands as well. Um, like the not the super early stuff, but maybe like White Pony era stuff,
okay.
the mid '90s,
Right.
late to early 2000s.
Are
Yeah,
you
so
do you
we draw a lot of inspiration from that.
nice? Do you are you a
Yeah.
fan at all of their album Diamond Eyes?
Yes, that was the first album I've heard from them, and that is my all-time favorite.
Same here. That album, honestly, I'm not even that familiar with most of the other material that the Deftones have done, but that album in particular, it was the first one I'd ever heard from them, and I fell completely in love with it and never checked out any of their other material. So that's like the only base that I have to like understand the sound that that band has and like how that relates to people who say that they're an influence of theirs. Because I hear Deftones thrown around a lot as an influence from a lot of different bands. So it doesn't really surprise me to hear that
Yeah,
it's one of yours.
yeah, man. I highly suggest all their material. It's it goes from super heavy stuff to just pure like if Pink Floyd was metal kind of thing.
Ah, okay.
Um, it's like I really enjoy a lot of their material. It inspires me a lot to create like a lot of the riffs I do, because unlike Deftones, they do play a lot of extended range instruments and very low tunings, but
Hmm.
we tend to stick more in the unlike just the regular ranged instruments. So it kind of inspires me to write a little heavier, write a little quirkier than I would normally.
Nice. I have to ask you, are you at
Yeah.
all a fan of a band called The Damned Things?
That's with Scotty and Fall Out Boy and the singer of Every Time I Die, correct?
Yes, yes, those guys.
Yes. Yes, man. I've heard few of their tunes, and it's just pure savagery. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the reason I bring it up is because when I was listening to your single, I got heavy vibes from that band. But I feel like, despite the fact that they're a super group, and like you said, they have members of Anthrax, Fall Out Boy, and Every Time I Die, they're not that well known. And I mean, they've only put out two records, so I guess that's not that surprising. But I definitely think that there's a comparison to be made between The Damned Things and Everose, at least based on the one song you guys have put out so far.
Thanks, man. That means a lot, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, for this song that we put out, we figured it would be the most, not to say radio friendly because it's not radio friendly. We're a underground band, but
Yes.
it's not as heavy as some of our other tunes. Some of our other tunes draw from a lot of the desert rock scene. Um, they're a fair bit heavier, fair bit sludgier. Um, but yeah, this song was a bit more melodic, had a bit more intricacies than the other ones. So we figured we put that one out to kind of draw people in as to listen to it, rather just hit them with the heaviest thing we got right out of the bat.
Right, right. Well, I have to ask you this then, because you say it's not radio friendly, but are you familiar with the Skeets from St. John's?
Yes,
Yeah. So they.
I actually did vocals with them for the re-recording of one of their songs, just group vocals,
Oh
back
shit! No
a year
way.
ago, I think.
That's awesome. That's so sick. Well, the reason I bring them up is because I don't know if any of them ever told you, but they did have one of their songs played on K Rock. Actually, I believe it was K Rock. It was one of the radio
Oh,
stations in
cool.
town. So, and I mean, as I'm sure you're familiar with their music, like they're an underground band too, but I mean, it's still radio friendly. And listening to the single that
Yes.
you guys dropped, I could say like I could easily hear that being played on K Rock as well, if I'm being completely honest. So,
Cool. Thank you.
I wouldn't discount that if I were you. That's just coming from me.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So
Yeah.
with this single that you dropped, Falling, where can people listen to it?
This single that we just released, that could be listened to everywhere. We put it out through DistroKid, so you can hear that Spotify, SoundCloud. I'm pretty sure SoundCloud. Um, a- Anywhere that you listen to music, pretty much, you can find us now.
Cool, awesome. Well, I can definitely recommend DistroKid as a website for people like underground musicians who want to get their stuff out there. It's so easy to use and it's honestly so cheap. Like I use DistroKid to get all of my own music put on Spotify and iTunes and what have you, and I think it's a really fantastic service. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me to hear that you guys have used that either. Um, Now, when it comes to lyrics, is something I wanted to ask you about because I can't find the lyrics to the song anywhere. But with Pearl, which you're also in, there's I asked you this in the interview that we did on the blog, right? Where I asked about
Yes.
lyrics, and you guys said that you kind of draw from a bunch of different things, and you don't want to try being lumped into any kind of category. Like you are vaguely political, but not overtly. So, is there a difference in how you're approaching lyrics with this project as opposed to that one?
Very much so. With Pearl, I tended to write lyrics about the things that irritated me the most, and um, there's a few songs that Pearl have put out, and that have some more meaningful lyrics to me. But Everose, for the most part, is like Falling, where I wrote the lyrics for that song. Those lyrics were very much so a part of a breakup that I went through a few years ago. So it was the lyrics for Everose are more personable than political, if it makes any sense.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I can definitely relate to that. I've written plenty of songs myself about similar situations, so I totally understand that. Um, oh, there was something else I was going to ask you about that in particular. Well, do you think I hear it said a lot that, in order to create great art, the artists themselves must go through pain, or that they have to experience a lot of pain, and out of that suffering is what that art comes out of. Do you agree with that? Because I feel very conflicted about that statement. I think pain creates a lot of great art for sure, but there's also plenty of great art that's been created by people just because they find it fun or relaxing or, whatever. So how do you feel about that?
To me, it's more so about what the listener will connect with. I don't disagree with the fact that pain creates great art, because there's plenty of great art, and what, like as you said, there's been great art from both sides of the spectrum. But I feel like it's more so what the listener will connect with. So if you're in a place of pain yourself, some song that was written by a person in pain will connect with you deeper than a song that was written by somebody in a good state of mind, if that makes any sense. Um, so it's all on where you are and where the music connects with you, for me, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can totally agree with that as well. I think there's something to be said there for artistic interpretation. Like, you as an artist, when you create something, you obviously have your own interpretation of it. You're the one that created it, so it means something specifically to you. But you could put it out there and it could mean something completely different to someone else who's listening to it, or, if it's a movie, someone who's watching it, whatever. So it definitely comes down to the individual interpretation of that piece. So I totally agree with you on what you're saying. Um, that being said, this is the first song that you guys have released. I wanted to ask you what your plans are for the future. Like, are you going to drop more singles? Is there an EP or a full-length album in the works? I believe you guys announced an EP a little while ago, but are there plans to do a full length in the future?
Yeah. So with our plans for the future, our drummer actually just moved away. So we've been writing with him via internet, but the plan for the future is to do an EP. So we're looking at maybe three heavier songs, an electronic interlude, and an acoustic song. Um, the drummer we got filling in for him is actually my cousin. He plays drums for Floresville, and so I feel like I'm going to end up tracking the drums for the EP close after Christmas, and then doing all the guitar work and everything. But after the EP, we're planning on doing another single after that, and maybe eventually a full length, but we're not entirely set on a full length yet.
Cool. Do you mind if I ask why your drummer moved away? Like, what happened there?
He actually moved away for work. His family all lived in PEI,
Uh,
so he ended up having to move with them. So it was just the way it had to go.
I see. Well, I'm glad that you guys are forging ahead, because a lot of times after a band loses a member, it's hard to find a replacement, especially in a place as small as St. John's, where every band has the same like 5 to 10 people playing in it. Like
Yeah.
it really feels like every time you go down to a show, you see the same exact crowd of people, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course. But it's like, okay, so you have these 5 people, and they're playing in a doom metal band. then one person moves away to like Alberta or something, and then those 4 people go off and they form a death metal band with some other guy, and it's just like the same like group of people doing the same thing over and over and over again.
It's the same band, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not saying that as a criticism of Newfoundland. I actually think that's part of the charm of the scene in St. John's, that it is so closely knit and it's always the same people. But that also goes back to the original thing that I said, where I'm just happy that people who are getting into heavy and extreme music at a young age, and then they learn to play instruments, and then they bring this new reinvigorated spirit into the scene. They have fresh new faces, fresh new music, and a fresh new take on things. So that's really why I just wanted to say, hey, thank you for reaching out to me to want to have this interview in the first place, and also for continuing to keep the spirit of heavy music alive in St. John's and in Newfoundland and Labrador in general. It's really, really awesome, and I commend you guys for doing it.
Thank you so much, man. It means the world to us that you are, like you said, you live in Montreal, but you still support the scene in Newfoundland, even though you're not based here anymore, and that means the world to every band who's playing here. It just gives us an outlet and somewhere to find each other, and be closer knit as a scene. I feel like you hold a lot of that together. So, thank you, man.
Well, thank you for saying that. I guess the only thing I'll say about that is how, like, every scene that I've been a part of, which, to be honest, has only been, like, the St. John's scene and the Montreal scene, there's always a lot of interpersonal drama going on because these things are so naturally close-knit. And it really pains me to see it. So, like, one of the goals that I have with Heavy NFLD is just to, to try and bring everyone together and try and, like, create as little interpersonal drama as possible, or at least to divert away from it.
Kind of unify us.
Exactly, yeah. And that goes for, like, anyone. Like, when I first started doing this, it was specifically, like, heavy metal, extreme metal, and that was it, right? But as time went on, I realized that, like, there's so much more interesting stuff going on in the scene besides just that. Like, you have a lot of punk rock bands and a lot of bands that fall into the alt rock spectrum, like you guys, or like Mantra, who just put out their full-length album as well. And I want to support bands like that who are doing stuff like that too. So, but I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for artists like yourselves coming out and releasing new music on a constant, consistent basis, and releasing music that is honestly quite good. So, yeah.
Thank you, man. It means a lot.
Well, you're very welcome. I'm going to cut this off now just because we just hit the 20-minute mark, and I'm going to be including this interview in the next episode of the Heavy NFLD podcast, which you can find at heavynfld.bandcamp.com. I want to thank you, Thomas, for coming on and talking to me, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the day, and I can't wait to hear the rest of what Everose has in store.
Thanks, Greg. I really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to do this. Hope you don't freeze to death up there. Hope to see you at a show sometime soon, once COVID's all done.
I'm certain that you will. I, in fact, make that a promise.
Awesome.
All right.
Glad to hear, man.
Thanks again, and yeah, take care.
You too, man.
All right. Peace out. Bye.
I want your cheap plastic tree, burn some Walmart and cheap plastic green. Looks so fake on the top of that, leave with oil, so fuck that. I'd rather go out to the woods, where all my trees are just as good. Cut down something that's filled me with a smell of fire or else the trees. Fuck, you're a plastic tree. Your brain is what I need. Fuck, you're a plastic tree. Your brain is what I need. Come up for Christmas, what fun is this? Artificial vows, what a goddamn mess. I don't want any of that little shit. Be a real tree that throws on a piss. Don't want to give it all, do it myself. Out with the forest and all fucking else. Gotta get me, taste the sapper. Buddy really grab off the birds. Fuck, the plastic tree. Real green is what I need. Fuck, your plastic tree. Real green is what I need. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are cool. Your unexpected gift, even the tender values, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black beard. You're a monster, Mr. Grinch. Your heart's empty. Balls are full of gas. You look like Danzig's hairy ass, Mr. Grinch. I wouldn't touch you with a 39.5 foot pole. You're an asshole, Mr. Grinch. You're a creepy, rotten thief. You have all the charm and brilliance of a serious needs, Mr. Grinch. The three words that best describe you are as follows, and I quote: turd, prick, killsar. You're a rotter, Mr. Grinch. You're the king of greasy snots. Your heart's a dead tomato spots with moldy purple spots, Mr. Grinch. You're a three-decker sauerkraut and toadstool sandwich with arsenic sauce. Your heart's a dead tomato spots with moldy purple spots. You're a three-decker sauerkraut and toadstool sandwich with arsenic sauce.
Alright, what you just heard was yet another song from the black metal duo Artach. This was a medley entitled Northward Leading, which they released last year for the holiday season. Before that, you heard Most Likely Forever with their cover of the classic Mr. Grinch from The Grinch Stole Christmas, a very classic Christmas film. And before that, we had another one of my own songs from a Christmas EP that I did last year as my hardcore punk project, Goddammit. And the name of that track was Fuck Your Plastic Tree. Yep, that's what it was called, and that's what I believe. Fuck your plastic tree. Anyways, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this Christmas-themed episode. I realize it is a tad on the short side in comparison to some of the other episodes of the podcast that we've done, but I wanted to make sure that I got this out there in time for the holiday season. It is December 23rd as of me recording this, so you will be hearing this on either the 24th or the 25th. I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to publish it, but regardless, 2020, it's been a hard year. We've had to deal with this pandemic. A lot of people have lost their jobs. Some people have even gone so far as to lose their homes because of the mishandling of this situation by the powers that be. So I just want to wish everyone out there a very happy holidays despite all of the horrible things that we've had to endure in this year. And, if you have family or friends that are in need or that need some kind of help, need to be taken care of, do everything that you can in your power to help those people out, because there's a lot of people out there that are hurting right now. And as we go into the hardest part of the year, of course, the winter time, some of these people are going to really, really need our help. So look out for one another. Once again, happy holidays from myself and everyone else here at Heavy NFLD. I really, really want to say thank you for all the support that I've received for this project over the last year. The growth we've experienced at Heavy NFLD is something that I never ever thought would happen, and getting to do this for the scene that I just really, really love and spent a lot of my time invested in makes me feel very fulfilled at the end of the day. And I rest easily knowing that I've also helped a lot of people back home with getting their music out there and getting it to as many ears as possible. But I couldn't do it if I didn't have people like you who are out there listening and reading the blog and sharing the word of Heavy NFLD around and sharing the brand name to people who otherwise might not hear it. So thank you so much from the very bottom of my cold black heart for all the support that you've given this platform in 2020. And we will see you in the new year. We're going to take a little break from posting stuff on the blog for the next week or so, but we will be back in early January with regular posting, just like always. So once again, happy holidays from myself, everyone at Heavy NFLD. Enjoy the rest of December. Peace out.